We recently got attacked on the internet, and it sucked. It felt like a kick in the gut. We felt confused, disoriented, hurt. We even panicked. And while our reaction could have been much, much worse, we didn't react as gracefully as we would have wanted to.
If you know what we're talking about, you're welcome. We hope you appreciated this real-life presentation of what it looks like when two deciders get triggered and feel scared of the tribe. Maybe you learned something from it, because sure as hell we did. And if you don't know what we're talking about, don't worry about it. The specifics don't really matter here. In this video, we want to walk you through what it feels like to get triggered, in particular in your last function, how to make sense of it, and how to handle it with a little bit of grace.
Mind you, when we say triggered, we're not talking about the memory of a traumatic experience getting re-triggered by a current event. Here we mean triggered in the sense of overreacting to a given situation. A situation that represents a real problem or challenge, but a situation that you don't emotionally react to any degree that is entirely reasonable or warranted. We encountered such a situation a few weeks ago, semi-publicly on the internet. It was about one of our recent videos. We had seen negative and weird comments here and there, but nothing had ever happened quite like this. This time, we got personally attacked, and with an intensity that is still baffling, even in hindsight. It took us off guard. It made us feel sick, physically. We felt awful, like someone had just thrown us into a dark hole and we didn't know when we might get out. We felt scared and helpless, and we just wanted to run away and hide.
But really, we like to emphasize that in a situation like this, you don't know what to do because your view of the world narrows and skews. Your flight, fight, or freeze response is activated, any rational thought is gone, and you're just left with your known reactions. You don't know why this is happening to you. You don't know if you deserve it in some way, because you made a mistake, or if you get attacked for no good reason. You really don't see reality as it is. You're only able to focus on the bad signal that says you did something wrong, or that you're an awful person. You can't see the whole spectrum, the signals that might tell you the exact opposite, or maybe something in between. You see nothing but a threat, and in your imagination, you make it much, much bigger than it actually is.
You feel like you need to do something to make this stop and go away, but that kind of triggered state is absolutely horrible for making decisions. You cannot trust your judgment or anyone's judgment who is in such a state. At the same time, your intuition tells you the opposite. Everything feels so real, intense, and immediate. You have to do something now and make this horrible feeling go away. What you really want to do is either run and hide or attack and blame someone else. However, the best way to respond in such a situation is doing, well, nothing. Don't run. Don't hide, and definitely don't attack anyone. That will just make it worse.
Your priority is to get yourself out of that state first, before you make any important decisions. But you can only do that if you're consciously aware that you are in a triggered state, and if you're able to detach from that state to some extent. Unfortunately, this requires experience and practice. How often did you recognize that you made a dumb and hasty decision out of fear? In hindsight, everything is usually crystal clear, but in the moment, the dumb ideas seem like your only option. They are not. But it's hard to be aware that there are other options while you're not in a state to actually see them. In these moments, you have to trust the patterns. You have to recognize consciously that you are in a triggered state. Remember the signs, the feelings, and the sensations. Then you have to be able to detach enough from that to remember the pattern and know what it means.
Yes, there is an objective problem or obstacle out there. No, you are not reacting appropriately to it. You are overreacting, and this overreaction is coming from you, and that's okay. You'll just have to deal with it. Yes, this feeling sucks, but no, it is not going to be forever. It will pass if you let it. Reacting in this state will likely just lead you to do something that you will regret, and your panic will be replaced by embarrassment and shame. How will I ever show my face in front of those people again after the way I reacted? Yes, you want to run or fight. But no, neither is a good idea. There are other, better, kinder options out there for how you might respond to this situation. You just can't see them yet. The most important thing for you right now is to take care of your internal state. Use the tools that are available to you. Journal, go for a walk, talk it out, meditate, sleep over it, whatever you can think of. Anything that is not reacting to the external world. But try not to suppress what you're feeling. Otherwise, it will just come back worse at some point in the future. Instead, allow the feeling to be there and leave it on its own. but do not make important decisions based on the triggered feeling.
When we got triggered a couple of weeks ago, we didn't heed our own advice fully. We basically ran away and hid. But we didn't lash out, we didn't tantrum, and we didn't let it get ugly, no matter how unfair the treatment we received seemed. We remained conscious enough to not get sucked into the triggered state fully. Later on, we recognized how much we overreacted. Yes, there were a few people who actually attacked us, but when we reread their messages a couple of days later, it didn't look as bad as it initially felt. We could see with clarity that this came from a tiny minority of people. And yes, we did feel a bit ridiculous afterwards, but we're also grateful because situations like this are an opportunity for growth. To be smarter next time, but also to feel a greater sense of freedom. Handling such situations with grace is hard, but the pressure doesn't have to be on you alone. You can build systems that support you.
And that's why we created our own triggered checklist since then. It reminds us of what's going on so we can see the situation at hand with more clarity, and it lays out the next steps for a more appropriate and mature response. We added the checklist to our error log as an additional entry template. Subscribe to our newsletter to receive the link to the template with our welcome email. We hope it helps you too.